fellow lawyers. Have you ever worked so hard on a trial or matter and at the end of the day turned everything in and then not been able to get out of bed and function shortly thereafter? Have you maybe worked your butt off and gotten a successful verdict for your client or successful outcome and then been reprimanded for some small interpersonal infraction that you did because, you're supposed to be perfect? Do you sometimes feel like you're just trying to keep your head above water while parenting, taking care of family, doing all your work, and trying to take care of yourself? Do you sometimes fantasize about opening your own firm? Or maybe you have already, but you're struggling and you really wonder, how can I start my own firm and make as much money as I did before? And is it going to be a huge financial risk and going to take me a long time to get going? If any of this resonates for you, then please listen to this episode. In it, I have a deep conversation with both Destiny Bounds of Bounds Legal and Wilder Clements of Clements Employment Law. Both of them are people I've worked with inside of Will, and they shared their journey through Will, Women Interested in Leaving Law, through the program I offer, and how they started their own firms and what they've learned by starting their own firms and the tips and advice they have for you. So dive in and have a listen. Enjoy. If they can do it, you can too. Hello, and welcome to this conversation about leaving your law firm to start your own. My name is Elena Deutsch, and I am the founder of Will, which stands for Women Interested in Leaving Big Law. And when I started Will, I was on a mission to help women lawyers figure out what they really want to do, what work that lights them up, and have a life, be able to have a life. And one of the things I discovered is that many of the people I work with end up choosing to stay in the law in a different way, even if they leave their big firm, small, medium, big firm, in-house, government, whatever it is. People come to Will from all over. And one of the outcomes that has been fascinating, delightful to witness, is some Will alumni have started their own firms, including Wilder Clements and Destiny Bounds, who are here with me today to talk about their experience. So thank you so much for being here. Wilder, I'm going to start with you. And Wilder and I met in 2018, and Wilder began their Will journey and came out on the other side with some things that they're going to share about today. And it's been just an incredible, and that was 5 years ago when they decided to leave their firm. So they just celebrated a 5th anniversary of being in business, which is a huge accomplishment. I mean, most businesses don't last 3 years. So you are like in this seriously like an established entrepreneurial space. So congratulations. So what was going on for you, like so that's where you were, but like what was going on for you inside, like internally? You had to make this decision. You had these 2 young children, like you wanted to know what else you could do. Like what was going on for you, like internally?
Internally, I was not particularly happy. I was almost too busy to think about my happiness and to think really in an intentional way. There was just the doing of work or the doing of parenting, and trying to keep my head above water with both was very difficult. And I think that is a challenge that, like, women and other folks feel in big law, is that not really truly not being able to do it all. And that wasn't really my expectation, but my expectation was that I'd feel a little better at the end of the day and a little better at the beginning of the day about my work that I had worked so hard for. I knew I wanted to become a lawyer at a really young age. I had done a lot of like social justice work prior to law school. I did a public interest fellowship after law school. I really wanted my law degree that I had spent a lot of time and money and effort and energy to feel meaningful to me. And I didn't know if that was going to be possible, honestly, within the way legal business models are structured in the US.
How did your Will journey, how did your experience in Will help you come to the decision to start your own firm?
There's so many aspects of that. It took me, I guess it didn't take me too long, but it took me almost a full year in the program to make the final decision. I had also committed to myself that by the time I turn 40, I will figure this out. So,
and you were how old when you started?
When I started my firm, I was 39. So yeah. I had made a decision. And I also wanted to make a decision. My youngest was in preschool and headed to kindergarten. And I knew that that might open up a little bit of space for me to think about something different. And so I think the things that really helped me were both the mindset shifts that Elena is really good at helping clients with, the return to my own self-confidence, honestly, both as a person, as a professional, and the freedom to brainstorm, to truly brainstorm like the ideal life and ideal day. And those things helped. I really mapped out a lot of various ideas, varying from become a full-time like backpacking guide, to starting my own firm, to going in-house or government. And those things, like the allowing myself the freedom to explore and dream, really helped, as well as the tangible tools of have the exploratory conversations with people who've done things.
Yeah, good. Let me start with this. So you decided to leave and you went out on your own. Like, tell us a little bit about that transition, because I think that's such a scary thing for people.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the, kind of an entrepreneurial, I think, personality. I had thought for a while. I did work at a firm that was fairly innovative with how lawyers worked, with pricing models. I had a lot of direct client contact very early. I think that is the benefit of a mid-size or smaller firm. But what that actually showed me is there might be better ways to serve clients and to be able to choose. I really wanted the freedom to be able to choose clients and to approach, I'm a, labor and employment lawyer, to approach that side of counseling clients in potentially a different way. And granted, this is before the push to diversity, equity, and inclusion in firms, but I saw that as a real need of this is coming. There's demographic changes happening in the workplace, and a lot of what I saw as problems that my employer clients were facing were kind of not paying attention to those. And I think I wanted to be able to, I mean, I was a litigator, but I really, really enjoyed that day-to-day advice and counsel work that I think is actually a little more suited to a boutique firm environment than a big firm that really makes a lot of profit off of, heavy hitting litigation. In terms of how I made the decision, I went and talked to friends and former colleagues who had started their own firms or made the transition from big law to starting their own practices. I read a lot. I listened to a lot of podcasts and kind of just developed a Google document with my, ideas of like, okay, here's what I'm going to need in terms of systems to set up. And once I understood that it's actually like, in terms of upstart overhead, starting a law firm is like one of the cheapest propositions, like other than your
Wow. Wow.
yeah, other than your professional
Destiny's
life.
giving a thumbs up for those of you who can't see her. Like Destiny's nodding, giving a big thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah. So you did all that, and then take us into that moment where you gave notice. That's such started telling people, and then went out on your own. Take us a little bit into what that was like for you.
Yeah, I was very nervous to give notice and on a number of levels, both like, giving notice and saying I don't have a job lined up and I might try to do my own thing. Felt I think a little like wild to some folks who were, used to, working in their whole career as a firm lawyer with some of the security that a big firm does offer and resources that a big firm does offer. I was also really scared to let people down. Like I'm definitely a born and conditioned people pleaser,
Yeah.
which I have learned to work on. But
Yeah.
I was worried about, I prided myself on doing good work. I prided myself on serving the clients, on serving the partners, whose clients I worked for. And I was really worried about letting people down and letting work drop and things like that. But it turns out like there's many hundreds of lawyers who can help.
Yeah, you're not the only one, right? Like I say and will to people often who are like responsible. I'm like, are you the one who actually signed the agreement with the client? Like, is your name on the contract? I mean, and now your name is on the contract. So So, but when you're leaving a big firm, there's other people, like you're saying, to carry the load, right? Like, and it's not 100% your responsibility.
Sure. Yeah. And I did give almost 2 months notice. I stayed on to close out matters. I also stayed on as on a contract basis for a couple of matters that I was key on for about 6 months. And so I wanted to obviously fulfill my ethical obligations, professional obligations, but and it was good for me to have a slower transition. Change is not the easiest for me, and I think that that's probably
Yeah.
true of a lot of lawyers.
Oh, hello. Yeah. Again, Destiny's big nods. All right. So take us like into like where you are now. I mean, it's 5 years later, and tell us about like your work and your life.
Sure. My work, I feel like this year is really, it is true that 5 year mark of owning your business. I feel like I'm much more confident in what I'm offering, and that what I'm offering is of not just value, but very needed. So the way I structure my firm is I like to work with what I call culture first businesses. So those businesses that are sort of aligning their business practices with people practices, and all that really means is um, are you interested in preventing preventing lawsuits? And if so, let's have that counseling type of relationship where I can counsel you through difficult situations. Let's, take a step back and honestly, a lot of my job now, Elena, like I coach, I really, and uh,
Excellent.
I think a lot of small firm practitioners become that kind of
Yeah.
counselor and coach, and so I appreciate that. And I serve over 150 clients in day-to-day
Wow.
employment matters. I occasionally also help individuals, but I love it.
And about how much do you work? Like, are you working, big law, kind of big, medium law, giant firm hours? Like, what is
I
your
work
life?
very, very hard for my clients.
Well, it's so interesting. You're resistant to saying. How come? Is there like a stigma about, working a lot?
Yeah, I think it's a very different way to quantify work
Yeah.
actually when you're on your own, because when you're at a firm and you're just pumping out the billable hours and you know that your goal is 1,800 or 2,200,
Yeah.
whatever it is, there's no incentive really to think about like what are the client's needs around this bill. So in terms of how much I work, I certainly don't even come close to what you might consider a big law billable requirement or that kind of thing. But that said, like I'm the principal of the firm. I do have another attorney who works for me, but as the principal, I'm more thinking about what holistically is going to help the client and then help my business and my reputation. So, but
Yeah.
in terms of the freedom that
Yeah.
I have a lot of freedom. Right before we got on this call, I just scheduled an all-day mechanics appointment for Valentine's Day, which is not the most like exciting thing to do, but I have freedom, scheduling flexibility, the
Yeah.
ability to go on field trips with my kids. And that for me, especially as a parent and as honestly someone who just thinks the 9 to 5, 40 hour a week, like I am an employment lawyer. I know that that model is like kind of in the past. Like that is not the way the workplace is going to be structured. So my workplace really isn't structured like that either. So
It's and yeah, and so you've got the freedom to like go with your kids on class trips and what about like time in nature? Like, that's really important to you.
yeah, it is very important to me. And I should mention, like, part of me going into my own firm was a real desire to also nurture this other part of me that loves to camp, loves to backpack. I became a certified nature therapy guide, which was a pretty intensive program during COVID. I went on an immersive training for that. So I do that, I'm hoping actually to build that part of my life and actually integrate it with law. I serve on the executive committee of the Bar Association of San Francisco, and I'm hoping to offer that as part of like the wellness offerings for attorneys. So I am still pretty passionate about that piece.
Chills, chills. I'm getting full body chills as you say that, which is Wilder knows when I get full body chills, it means that you're on the right track. So that is really, really beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, for sharing. Is there anything you would want, a lawyer who's thinking about leaving their firm to go out on their own, anything you would want them to know?
You definitely can do it. And if you have a vision of how the law could serve clients better and you're passionate about that, you'll be successful.
Fabulous. And anyway, anything you want to say about like how Will could help someone who's thinking about doing that?
In so many ways. I think, the brainstorming, the entrepreneurial mindset, the idea, like how can you do things more efficiently, smarter, leveraging technology, and just the community of people who aren't just kind of stuck in this is the only way to make a living as a lawyer mentality is a, having that community of support is really important. And I think, women, BIPOC folks, trans folks, like the traditional big law firms were not set up for us. And so I think there is a real need and push now for lawyers to that look like me, that are like Destiny, to do their own thing. And I think my experience 5 years in is there is client demand for that.
Yay. Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. And congratulations on your 5-year in business anniversary. This is amazing. Turn it over and put my attention on Destiny Bounds, who is the founder now of Bounds. I want to say it right. Why don't you say it? Because I'm going to Bounds Law. Bounds Law, and is also a coming soon and consulting as well. So Destiny started not one, but 2 businesses as a result of our work together as your outgrowth of your Will journey. So why don't you take us back to where you were when we first encountered each other?
Man, it feels like a decade ago, but at the same time, it was not that long. It wasn't as long as Wilder's. So this was not last year, but the year before in the fall. And I had just gotten done with a 2-week, $5.6 million trial. They had let me go first chair this trial. I took an associate. I had a whole team that they gave me at my big law firm. And none of them, which I have to tell you, had been to trial except me. So I'm like teaching everybody from scratch how to go to trial on this professional liability claim. And they had put me on this trial just like 6 weeks before it went. So I had 6 weeks to pick up this case and go to trial, which I am very grateful that they had enough confidence in me to go do that. So it was a compliment, and us as being attorney personalities, we like to be complimented, right? So I'm like, sure, I'll take on this challenge. And I did, and I loved going to trial. I loved all that. But I remember waking up, by the way, so we represented the defendant who they were bringing this claim against. We got a complete defense verdict in 30 minutes, but they did want to finish lunch. So we did have an hour and a half wait, but we got a complete defense verdict. Best outcome you could possibly want for your client. And I was representing a real client, even though the insurance company is paying for it, but a real person that I felt like I helped. But I still woke up, I remember that Monday following the trial, and I could not get out of bed. I was just complete lack of everything. I wasn't even necessarily sad. I just didn't want to do anything. Nothing sounded good. I didn't feel happy anymore for my win. I wasn't excited for anything. I mean, nothing. And that went on for a week or 2. And it was really, really hard to get back into work. Very hard. And then I got back and my managing partner was like, we need to have a discussion. And I was like, okay, about what? I just won you a trial and none of you guys go to it. Not that I'm trying to be prideful of it, but it's maybe I should just have gratitude for a second.
Yeah. For a second. Yeah.
For a second. And then my managing partner is sitting me down because the paralegal and the assistant, which by the way, they took my assistant and moved her over to IP 2 weeks before I went to trial. So I'm trying to work with the assistant of my associate. And they were complaining because at some point I was rude to them. And I was like, guys, do we even know the amount? Like this just once, I wasn't rude through the whole thing, but once I got mad, like I blew up. I didn't blow up, but I was just like, guys, this is wrong. Like this cannot go out this way, right? We do that as attorneys sometimes. And I was clearly, it was a lot of stress. That was all he had to say to me in the meeting. And that I essentially, he was nice about it. Like, I want you to be a good attorney or whatever, but it just like destroyed me inside. Cause I was like, first off, why didn't they come to me and say something? Because really I'm their boss. You went to the managing partner, like not even like another partner, like the man, it just, sorry. So long story short.
It's a long story. Yeah, it was kind of like, but I think it was like the final straw. I mean, I think that's why it's important. And that's why it stays in your heart, because it was the final straw. Yeah.
So yeah, I started Googling.
Like so kind of cracked and depleted. Like
I was done. And I remember thinking, I don't know what I want to do. Like I didn't have, at that moment, I was so just like, just overwhelmed with life. Then I remember thinking, I need someone to help guide me. So I Googled, I can't exactly remember what it was, but just like business coach for lawyers. And you came up in my search. And
thank you,
I
Google.
think I even like found you on a general website with other people, but your message just resonated with me. I remember, and just thinking, you know what, I'm going to reach out to you. And then I set up a really quick, easy discovery call. And right then I knew, I was like, yeah, you can help guide me. Like you can help get me through whatever this is. And we can talk more about that journey, but that's essentially back then. And it just feels like forever ago, because it's just, I was such a different person now. It's crazy.
I know, but it's really like less than 2 years ago, Destiny, right? It was like a year and a half maybe. And then what were some of the things that were most helpful to you in your will journey?
Obviously our one-on-ones, when we were able to really talk about through what my dreams were and what that kind of looked like, what the options were even. I really, really liked community calls. Those would probably be my favorite thing. If you guys work with Elena at all, make sure you take advantage of the community calls, because that's really where I was able to really hear other women attorneys really express like the same thing I was going through. And I know we all say like, oh yeah, we know there's people out there that are like us, or they're going through the same thing. But when you really hear those people and you're able to talk to them, it just brings a lot of comfort that is almost immediate. And they were just really helpful on figuring out things. I mean, we threw around like names for my consulting business for a while, or, just talking through like, maybe I was just having a bad day that day about another counsel on the other side, because I was doing a lot of litigation before I went out on my own too. And I really have transitioned more into business law type things. But I remember coming to a community call and I was dealing with a really, I'm just going to say it, a-hole attorney.
Yeah.
Was bullying me about, I asked him to destroy some stuff that went out because I didn't double check my paralegal, and something went out that was work product. And I asked him to destroy it, and he said, I don't have to. And he was bullying the crap out of me. And I was very worked up about it because it just happened. And everybody on the call was like, no, that is not the law. And like, it was so comforting and just got good advice. So even that type of stuff, like I just felt the community calls were one of the best thing. The last thing would be your connections. So you set me up with tons of people, even Wilder. Wilder helped me.
I remember connecting you guys.
Just get on calls and talk through some of the things that I just needed to hear from another law firm owner. Like, even like, what computer do you use? Like, I mean, like, what are my choices? Like, what do I do with this? And you got me with those connections of people that have just been like just amazing for what I needed at that time. So
yeah. And so how did your will journey help you decide to go out on your own?
Well, I mean, it gave me a clear vision is probably what I'd say. Like I was able to actually see it. So I know that, not to get into like extreme amount, which you know it all, Lena, but for my journey, I had to also incorporate a lot of mental health pieces into it. I had to get a therapist, and I took some time off, which I didn't even know was available through FMLA. So if you're going through a lot and you really feel like you just don't have any dreams anymore, something to consider if that's just like a mental block there. And I took some FMLA and started working with a therapist, working with you. And I really started realizing I was in just a constant state of fight or flight, right? Like I was in almost a chronic anxiety type situation that wasn't allowing me to dream at all, wasn't allowing me to feel excitement for anything, or where I could go and what I could do. And it just allowed all of that to kind of like the cloud, I would say, just like a cloud went away. And I was able to go back to the dreams that were already in my heart and were there, because I can remember even in law school, I was like, I want to go open my own firm. Like I want to do my own thing. It's just always been this thing inside me. I just want to do my own thing. I got in trouble the first month, like first couple of months I was at my big law firm, because they said, you got to watch Destiny. She'll just go do it. like it's a bad thing, right? I was being the rebellious one because I just go work cases on my own. Oh my God, like drive me nuts. So it's been inside of me, but when I got to you at first, like I was like, I don't know what I want to do, because it was my body. I had to get my mental state there. So
yeah, your body and your mental state, because you were really in that extreme burnout. And when we first spoke about your taking FMLA, you didn't even know it was an option for you. No. And the things that we have in Will is I did another panel discussion about that. Wilder actually came in and weighed in on shared what the federal law is. And so there are many people for whom they think it doesn't apply to them, but it does. You were like, I don't have a broken bone or cancer, or felt someone in my family I have to care for. Yeah. So it was so beautiful. And then you were, allowed yourself, you were able to dream again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then me and you just like off to the races. I felt like your program is really set up to just not only walk it through with me outside of our one-on-ones, but then to explore that more in the one-on-ones. So I just,
yeah. Good. So, all right, let me, so tell us where you are now. Like, so you left, you took FMLA, and then you made the big decisions during that time. And tell us about like your transition out to your own thing.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So in May, the beginning of May, I opened my own law firm, just took the leap and did it. I work primarily with small businesses, and yeah, I do kind of some of the things that Wilder was talking about. I've really transitioned over more to acting as kind of outside in-house counsel to small businesses. So I start with them coming in, kind of, I do their formation and their contracts, and then they stay on as like a subscription or membership a lot of times. And I'm more of doing advice and coaching and consulting and all that. I have a separate consulting business because the one thing I figured that I liked about trial was I really love to teach, speak, and do some of the actual legal education. And as attorneys, we all know there's all these fun legal ethics that we can't share profits with other non-attorneys. We can't, we got to be careful about legal education. We got to do all these things. So from the get-go, I knew I was going to have to separate stuff because I wanted my future to be non-traditional. Like I want to grow this firm, but I also want to do something a little bit different. And so I do still consulting on the other side, where we do that more of like a profit type situation and helping female business owners kind of build passive income sources. And I've done that for the last, 6 months, 7 months, with a really good friend of mine. She's a money coach, Sarah Nicole Nadler, which we started a course 6 months ago and then just transitioned and actually wrote a book. So I have my book coming out. I'm really excited about it.
Which March. I signed up to, I pre-ordered. Yes, so I'm so excited to get it. I'm like,
I kind of have two different things, kind of two businesses going on where, yes, I have this traditional law firm and I have an associate. I have a paralegal now. I really have two assistants. If you count my mom, I'm telling you, I thank you, Jesus, because I don't know how, but I opened, according to Cleo, 100 cases between May and December.
Oh my God. Okay. So where you were before, like couldn't get out of bed, to like where you are now, like two businesses, over 100 new clients, matters,
which
in
can
less
be
in matters. Okay, in less than a year, right?
Yeah.
In less than a year since you started your own.
I had to hire help so I could but it's allowing me to also then do some of the stuff that I really love. And it's the legal education or teaching or, being more involved in the community and really helping small businesses grow and do their thing. And help them through all the things that aren't necessarily legal. So yeah, like I kind of took it a little bit different, but it allows me to really do the things that I love. And
what other freedoms do you feel like it allows you? Yeah, sorry, I jumped in on you a little bit there.
So I loved your question. I loved your question when you asked about how much she's working, because really, I could tell you, I may be working more than I was at my big law firm, but it's not the same. It's not, when I'm working on my social media or I'm writing my book, it is not the same as me sitting there and doing a brief, or me getting ready for a deposition that I'm like, why are we even fighting about this? Like,
the whole energy is different. Yeah.
It is. So you're really invested because it's on me. Like, it's me. I'm representing me. And there's just a lot more energy there. There's a lot more ability to be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I'm helping. That's why the whole thing of like being able to accept the clients you want and don't, makes a huge difference. Because then I really do just get to work on the cases that I'm like, I feel good about you, or you're not a great client, so I'm going to let you go. And I don't have to do the work. I mean, I still have to do the attorney work, and sometimes that's not the greatest, but you know what I mean? Like, it's still with a client, and the outcome is there that I am invested in. And that's the difference. So
yeah. And I think, one of the things people are curious about is the money, right? So without asking any more than you want to reveal, but like, how are you doing financially? How are you making this financial? Were you able to make this financial shift? And and Wilder, if you would respond to that as well. Go ahead, Destiny. Yeah.
For me, I did save up a lot because I got really scared. But I will tell you, you really don't need to save up as much as you think. You should, because it is just good. But and especially if you're wanting to do two businesses, that was a different thing, because I had to put some money into marketing and website stuff like that. But aside from that, starting a law firm really is low key, because you can do so much stuff yourself because you are an attorney. Don't think that you can't go get a contract template and make it your own. You're an attorney. You have everything there to do your LLC, to do all your initial contracts, to even if you want to pay someone to do a website, websites are so easy anymore. You can set it up your own. There's not a whole lot of overhead unless you're going to get a case management system.
Right. Unless you're getting office space or And
I didn't even have I rented share space for like $300 a month. I did transition this year into a real space for my associate and me and my paralegal, but
nice. So you actually have like an office that you go into?
It's not started. Yeah. This a real office. Yeah, technically.
Oh my gosh. And
I know, it's really crazy.
I forgot to say Destiny's in Kansas City, and it's,
I
Super
am.
Bowl week. So
yeah, we work in several states. I've got the attorneys I work for are also licensed in other states, so we're just like, we're able to do lots of things. But financially, though, I mean, I never dipped into my savings. I'll just
say. Oh my gosh! So you have been sustaining yourself financially ever since you opened your doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you see a path to making the same, more, less than you were when you were working for the firm.
I will definitely make as much as I was making at my firm this year.
This year.
It's a little bit, it's a little bit hard to calculate, because like I do now spend more on things that I wouldn't normally, that would be like a business expense. So like I go out to eat a lot, but because I'm taking clients or I'm taking attorneys, right?
Yeah.
So like in some ways I'm spending, it's hard to calculate, but it's a business expense, and that is needed for marketing and networking, and it works really well for me. So it's like I'm taking it home, but I'm not, I don't know, because that's like a business.
Yeah, but I think the fact that you haven't had to dip into your savings is significant, is like incredible. And you see a path that like in your second year business, you're going to gross, the same amount as you did. And yes, you have expenses.
There's just so many people that need legal help. There just really is. And I think it really, going back to what Wilder said, was if you find something that you're passionate about and you feel like that there's people you can help, I promise you, as an attorney, the business is there. The business is there.
I love it. I think that's true I actually think that's really true for anything that we really have a calling in our heart to do. The business is there, whether it's in or out. Yeah. Whether it's, forest therapy or helping people with contracts or helping lawyers who want to figure out what really lights them up and go get it. Yeah. Wilder, what about you? Anything you'd be willing to share about the money?
Yeah, I mean, I also haven't had to dip into savings. I think that
Wait, you have not. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. You have not had to dip into savings. Okay.
no, I think I used in California, employees get their vacation paid out upon separation of employment. So I think I might have used my banked vacation to fund my professional liability insurance, but in those first few months. But I did leave my firm I had one client. I started my firm with one client, and I took a client, and I had been working with them. I sort of calculated, okay, here's how much I can expect from this one client. And is that going to be, and then growing off of that. So that definitely helped to have that. But even without that, I don't think it's impossible at all. No, I haven't had to dip into savings. And yes, I'm grossing definitely more than I made at the firm.
Thank you. Because I think that's everyone's fear, right? I won't be able to make as much money. It's not everyone's, but that's a common mindset that holds so many people back from starting something new. All right.
Yeah.
Any comments that you wanted to make to each other? And then I wanna open it up to questions.
I just want to say one last thing because I had a conversation. When you asked me, what's the one thing you would tell people thinking about going out on their own? And I've been thinking about that this week because I had lunch with another attorney and we were talking about this and he said, oh yeah, business owners, they have about 5 things in their head that they're thinking about before they go out on their own. But as attorneys, we have like 25 because we're thinking through everything. So my advice would be don't overthink it. If it's in your heart and you're really thinking it, like you really feel drawn to that and like it's something that like you feel like there's a spark there and it's something that you would find enjoyable, really like just don't overthink it because especially as attorneys we've got 25 things. Just want to mention that because I was like that's so true.
Right, because it's like Marie Forleo who teaches people how to start online businesses, like pointed destiny towards her, says, like insight comes from action. You have to actually take some action to know the next step. So you really just have to go one step at a time. And Destiny, before you guys chat and we open it for questions, just any last thoughts on how Will helped you get to this place? Anything else you want to say on that?
For me, just having the cheerleader and having like someone believe that this is possible and that I could do it was really important because there are a lot of voices in big law that will tell you this is the only way to make money or to do things. And being able to have another source saying something different was really important and helpful.
Thanks, Wilder.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think everybody realizes that big law has this type of culture, but when you're in it and you don't have a lot of other things that are saying differently, you just don't know how stigmatizing and how big that culture is until I've now been out for almost a year. So just getting that, yes, with the community calls and especially you, Elena, like just hearing the different point of view of like, that's not right. That's not really how the real world works. It doesn't.
It's not the only way of thinking about it, right? There's always another option.
And I will tell you, it's not really how it works. Like now that I'm out of it, like there's some things that I believed back then that I'm like, why did I ever believe that?
Right. So I wasn't just blowing smoke up your butt. I was. All right, good. Is there anything you want to say to each other? And then I want to open it up for questions. Yeah.
Wilder, I'm just so appreciative of your help. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you guys ever need help, I'm here, but you also go to Wilder. She's awesome. She will
They're awesome.
give you a good insight into starting a firm and getting off the ground for sure.
Thank you. All right, good. So let's see if we're able to get into the Zoom, awesome. And you have a question, please type it into the chat. If you're on the phone, I see a bunch of people dialed in because there were Zoom issues. I'm so glad you dialed in. Thank you. And if you have a question and you're on the phone, just go ahead and unmute and tell us your first name and what your question is. So would love to take some questions.
How do you unmute on Zoom on the phone? Is it like *9 or something?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I did mute people, but I think, is it *9 to unmute? Do you know? I don't know. Do you remember? It was like in the old teleconference days.
I don't think I've ever called in by phone to Zoom, ever.
I have, but it's been a while. Okay, there's someone. Go ahead. Tell us your first name and ask your question, please. Go ahead. You're off mute. It's a 724 number.
That was me. This is Tammy. I recently started my own firm in the last year, and I think all this information is super helpful. I didn't come from big law. I was actually in-house counsel for some very large technology companies.
Nice.
And pursued this. It's kind of like second career. But my question is, how did you go about networking and, establishing new clients? I'm having a hard time, getting that first client, but definitely have, the skill set in my area that I think could be super helpful for even small businesses to enterprise.
Fantastic. Thank you. And it was Tammy. Is that what your first name is?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tammy. Okay, good. So how do you go about getting your first clients? I know, Wilder, you took your first one with you, but then you had to get others. So go ahead. Who would like to jump in?
I can jump in if you want. Or
Okay.
go ahead. Well, sorry, I didn't know if you were going to talk or.
Go ahead, Destiny. Go ahead.
So
and then
for me,
yeah.
I remember, so I took Marie Forleo's business school. That was really helpful because it gave me the insight from a business. So that made me learn that for a law firm, we are first and foremost a business owner and then a law firm owner. So you've got to think like a business owner. So what are they doing right now is what I looked at. And right now, social media. So the two things that worked for me was social media, honestly, like doing like a launch, like, hey, to all my friends, this is what I do. Starting on Facebook and making it simple. I just did Facebook, Instagram, kind of LinkedIn. I'm still like not sure on the LinkedIn because most of my business clients are on Facebook and Instagram. And then just being consistent with it. I'm not necessarily doing a lot of videos or anything per se, but I do post. I consistently post and just do like Monday inspiration or whatever. And just like getting that in front of people, asking people to reshare it and just reminding people constantly on my social media what I do and how I do it. That has been a huge thing for me in my local. The other thing is honestly just going to all the bar associations and any associations related to your clients, if you have that type of client. I don't know what type you're necessarily doing, but for me, it was really easy to just start going to there's a lot of like the business networking groups here. I would hit up those. And then the bar associations, really just going and telling people I just started my own firm. There has been a lot of female attorneys, especially like at my Association of Women Lawyers in Greater Kansas City, who were like, okay, well, what do you do? How can we help you? And just because the one thing that stuck in my head from a mentor I had in the beginning here, this female business, she told me, you have to remember, people don't remember what you do until like the third, fourth, fifth time that you tell them that. They will not remember it. So you have to continually get in their face by telling them, I do this. I'm looking for this. This is my type of client. So many times until that situation comes up and they remember you. And I will also tell you that it's a seed planting thing. So I have potential clients now that I met 6 months ago at a networking event. Hey, I'm getting around to calling you. So sometimes it's also just sitting and waiting. But those are the two things that really worked, I think, really well for me. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Wilder, why don't you go, and then I'll add a couple of additional thoughts that might be helpful for you, Tammy. Go ahead, Wilder. Thanks.
Sure. I'm actually just looking at my client list from my first year to remember where my initial clients came in. And actually, some of them came in through some of those conversations that I had with people who had already gone out on their own, who were in different practice areas. Sort of once I got up and launched, they had me in mind and started referring clients who needed labor and employment services to me. I also, very helpfully through another Will member, got connected with another business attorney where I live, and he started referring me clients. Friends, definitely. I also did a mass email. I don't do that much marketing though, in terms of the emails and that kind of thing. I am active on LinkedIn though. A lot of my clients are on LinkedIn, but mostly it's been word of mouth. And I've made a point of continuing to be involved in the Bar Association in San Francisco has a solo small firm section that's specifically for solo small firms, which has been getting involved in that has been both really helpful in terms of referrals, as well as just like getting somebody on the phone and, an ethics attorney and being like, okay, can you, is how running questions by them and having that community has been important to me. So a lot of my referrals come through either other attorneys in different areas of practice or my clients. My clients are kind of my best referral source. They talk to other business owners who have an issue. And very rarely, I don't spend any money on Google marketing or anything. I don't spend any money at all on online marketing. I even have the free MailChimp. So maybe eventually I'll do more, but right now the word of mouth seems to work.
And you're both using MailChimp as like your mailing list kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. And Tammy, if you haven't already, two things. There's Business Networking International, BNI, has chapters and groups all over. I don't know if that's something you've plugged into, but they'll form these groups that have like one kind of everything. So they would have one labor and employment lawyer and one real estate lawyer, et cetera. So if you haven't plugged into BNI, that's like, it's very referral, that's the focus of those groups. And then there's something called Women Owned Law. Yeah. Have you plugged into BNI yet or no?
No, I haven't. I'm a technology law attorney and commercial contracts. So I've done some of the social media. I started out with LinkedIn, like you were talking about. Facebook, I didn't think was like an area that would necessarily apply, just because I don't think my business clientele would be on Facebook that way. But from what I'm hearing, like maybe that's not the case for like the smaller businesses.
You don't know yet. Yeah. So I bet I think
small businesses are mainly on Facebook.
Yeah. But it's also just like letting people know what you do and the problem that you solve. So when you say like, I'm a technology lawyer, like I don't really know what that means as a non-lawyer. So like, what's the problem you solve for businesses? So if you can speak in that language on Facebook, or like as a technology lawyer, I help businesses solve these, like, are you dealing with AI issues? Are you dealing with privacy, cybersecurity? Yeah. I mean, those are all problems people need solutions for. So I would give you that. Try and speak in a way that helps people understand how you solve their problems.
No, I appreciate that. And I may reach out to you on LinkedIn to ask you to follow my network. And for everyone else, the way to unmute is *69.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hey.
Thank you so much. *69, appreciate it.
Why did they choose 69 though? Okay.
See, we're already solving problems together. Thank you, Tammy. So if you're on go ahead. If you're on the phone, have another question, go ahead and press *69. Go ahead, Wilder. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I also remember like significantly someone I had worked with at my old firm who was kind of in an of counsel relationship with the firm, had been on their own, then come to the firm when she needed like, some better help or whatever. But she was also very, very helpful to me, and she was looking to retire. And so about 1.5 years after I started my firm, she basically handed over all of her clients to me or referred them to me. There was no like monetary, exchange. I didn't buy her book of business, but that was incredibly helpful. And this is a little nugget because I think there are some like the baby boomers are retiring, right? So find some attorneys who might be looking to transition out of their solo or small firm practice, but they want to be able to leave their clients in good hands, and develop those kinds of relationships too. And maybe that even means you leave and go work as counsel, or maybe even partner for a much smaller firm with the expectation that eventually you'll take over the business. That's another really helpful way to do it.
Yeah. And you can come as of counsel and still have your own firm if you do it that way, still have your firm, but then also be of counsel to another one.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have a question? Go ahead and unmute *69 if you're on the phone or if you're on the Zoom. All right, Kathleen.
Hi. I'm Kathleen, and I've been practicing in-house as general counsel for several large firms, and I decided I wanted to get out of law. But my question for Destiny is, so you have these two businesses. Is it your goal at some point to weight your business more on the consulting side and less on the more law practice side?
You already know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I eventually just want to do speaking, education, and consulting. And then I will have a law firm that I'm still bringing clients into, but that's fully ran by other attorneys. Mhm.
Go
And have-
Destiny. Woo! Getting ready to 10x. I just got full body chills. Like it's just so like putting those people, those other who's into place to do the things so you don't have to.
Yes, but creating a culture that is much different than the law firm cultures that I've been in. So, an environment that's just different. Like I've worked at now a couple different firms, and I just always think the culture is so bad.
Right. And you've also built your firm so it's not a billable hour model, correct?
Nope. It's mostly, we do a tiny bit of billable if I can't figure out how to flat fee you, but for the most part, it's flat fee subscription memberships. Mhm.
And Wilder, how about you? Are you a combination of like retainers? How are you? Are you kind of out of the billable hour model too?
I'm a combination of both. I offer basically a legal employment HR infrastructure package that's flat fee. That makes a lot of sense to people who are like, here's what I need to invest in to make sure I'm in compliance. So I do offer that flat fee. And then beyond that, oftentimes there'll be, billable hour work, but I'm always finessing that model and always now Destiny's getting me inspired because I've definitely thought about starting my own HR consulting practice on the side as well. So
yes, Wilder. Yes, you have. Yes.
now it's I love to teach. I think I also love to teach. I do a lot of trainings. I do those flat fee, but I would love to do it outside of my firm.
Right. And you should, I mean, I'm not your attorney, but it does it creates some liability issues of running it through your firm, I'll tell you, as a business attorney. So, yeah. And I wanted to I wanted to do collaborations with non-attorneys. And the only way I can do that is through my consulting. And you can do that then too through your HR company.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're at an hour, and I wanted to keep it to this to honor everyone's time. So I want to just say a huge thank you to Destiny and Wilder. There was one more question in the chat. I'll just very quickly, how did you determine your message that others understand the offers, the services you offer? So if you have 1 minute to just kind of speak to that in a succinct way, and then we can wrap it up. How's that?
I have 2 words, Marie Forleo, or B School.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which starts in March. And Destiny and I were on a coaching call, and it was the last day of enrollment in B School. And I said to Destiny, I really think you should check out Marie Forleo. I don't use the word should much, as Destiny and Wilder know. And I was like, this kind of kismet.
And it wasn't cheap.
But what you got from it taught you how to do that, right? It taught you how to.
It created an entire mind shift where I was like, again, we are first and foremost a business and then a law firm.
Right.
Owner. We're a business owner, then a law firm. So.
Okay. So Marie Forleo and
Wilder.
Yeah. For me, I mean, my message was centered around who I wanted to serve. I needed to have a message that I would feel always 100% comfortable saying to people that I didn't personally cringe at. That was honestly part of my guiding principle is like, do I really believe this? So
I love it. Yeah. And really kind of a basic marketing formula is I help blank do blank. So I help women lawyers and people assigned female at birth, lawyers who want to figure out work that lights them up and go make it happen. So
and don't be afraid to tell your story. Like, don't be afraid. People want to work with real people. So they want to hear your story.
It's so true. People, we're beyond a brand culture. We're in a personality. People want a real human to connect with. Yeah, I love that. So I think that's a beautiful note on which to end. I want to say a huge thank you to Wilder and Destiny for your time, for sharing your stories here with us. And how can people kind of connect with you going forward? And we can put this in the communications that go out beyond this. What's the best way for people to connect with you offline or online, but not here?
Sure. I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat. That's a good way to connect with me and follow me. Post generally more there. You can DM me if you need help.
Thank you.
I have LinkedIn. I do not post on there that much, but I'm trying. But Instagram or Facebook, Instagram is at legal.fluid. And then Facebook is just Bounds Law LLC that you can find me on and follow. Or you can also find my personal pages. I'm happy to friend you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.